Hello everyone, this is Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary. Welcome to another intentional black screen reading. This is a very impromptu reading. I was in deep meditation and the Archetypes deck by Kim Krantz started calling to me. All the information you could desire is in the description box. Let's just hop in. This is going to be a psychic intuitive reading. And per usual, if you want to see the cards, check out the community blog. I started this at 12:12. 12:12 portal could be significant. This is a timeless reading. But anything I bring up that is current energy could be a sign or synchronicity for you later. Welcome to the community. How are you all doing today? Moon is in Scorpio. Transformative energies, going into the hidden, the deep. So I pulled 6 cards from archetypes, and I like to use descriptive audio on some of the cards to give a more pleasant experience. It also helps me read the energy for the collective. Alright, so the first card out of the 6 that I just shuffled out is the prayer. LXV. The second card is Anima Mundi. LXXV 1, 2, 3. The next card is Gnosis. LXXV. Then we have the Medallion, L1X. Then the Shapeshifter, XV. And the Vow, LIV. Live. So as I was pulling these, the thoughts that came through was you had a prayer to access unlimited information in abundance, a deep knowing that you wanted to integrate. Your prayers are being answered. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. If it doesn't apply, this may not be your message, and that's okay. I'll have a collective long-form tarot quest coming up sometime in the next week or two, so feel free to check out my collective playlist called Divine With Me. That's in the description box. Anyways, so a deep knowing, access to everything, to be able to create everything, to be in the flow of abundance, I'm hearing. The medallion down here, this is very much, to me, it feels like an award, a trophy, and your award is the ability to shapeshift through any circumstance. And you made some kind of promise, and the divine made some kind of promise to you with the vow that they wouldn't leave you alone to fight by yourself anymore. I'm hearing. I'm a psychic medium empath. So the medallion is really calling to me. All of these cards are circular with a white border around them. This card has black background and there is a black and white hand reaching up towards a golden orb of light that has white light on the inside of that gold, and it looks like I'm hearing pocket watch. It looks like almost a golden pocket watch. It's a prize. It's something you've been seeking. It's something shiny and reflective and beaming and hopeful and joyful. You're almost touching it. It's right there. Above this, the prayer card is soft pastel watercolors of pink and orange and yellow and light greens and blues. There's a hand coming out of the earth, what looks like grass, and to its left is what looks like the medallion, and it almost looks like this hand is about to catch it. It's interesting because the medallion has a very masculine looking hand and the prayer has a very feminine. So it's like, as a lot of you know with tarot or divination or energy, it's about energy, not gender. So masculine is an active energy and feminine is a receptive energy. So you've been reaching, you've been taking action for this prize, this trophy, whatever it may be. And in the prayer here, you're receiving, you're in receptivity mode. And perhaps for some of you, the prayer was to just be able to receive. There's so much beauty and softness and gentleness and femininity in this card. But next to, and I'm getting chills as I say that hits someone, right? The hand is next to, it looks like a very faint, almost gridded mountain way in the background. And above the hand, to me, it looks like almost a figure. And it feels very masculine to me, like a figure with, I'm just going to use he, him, or she, her pronouns, but again, put it however it fits. You could be they, them as well. So this masculine energy is looking down and off to the side, hands at his side, not really, not defeated, but just kind of still, knowing that something is happening behind him, knowing that there's something coming. Ready to receive. It's almost like the action is the act of receiving. To surrender is the aim. To let the universe unfold in order to receive this gift, I'm hearing. And for some of you, the gift is the anima mundi. It is the access to all. It is everything in creation. It is that place where you can pull from anywhere, because as within, so without. We have everything inside of us. The act of creation, that's in perfect balance with masculine and feminine energies. Now, we've talked a lot about blending the two to become balanced as a soul, as a higher divine being, to be in balance with your divine masculine and divine feminine, knowing when to act and when to sit still. And this isn't just in order to accomplish something. This is a state of being in flow, in grounded stability within oneself, to be anchored in, yet able to fly, if that makes sense. Gnosis, it's a knowing. It is a deeper, it sometimes can represent occult knowledge. That's interesting, this card. Again, there's what looks like a medallion in the very center, but it's very, very far away. And there's this geometric pattern in the center, and around the geometric pattern is like black, how would I describe that? This black sunflowers coming to mind for some reason. That's relevant to someone. And around that is a rainbow color, and it reminded me of Aurora Borealis, right? Excuse me, Ouroboros, not Aurora Borealis. That's the Northern Lights. That could be relevant to someone. This is Ouroboros. It's the never-ending snake design, and there's almost like a hypnotizing black and white lines around the card. But at the very end, in the magenta-like colors, is a raven, or a crow, a corvid, a blackbird, shooting off, leading the way around the circle, around the knowledge. In this geometric pattern, some of you may want to look into sigils for meditation and bringing your intentions into fruition through the act of manifestation. There's a cross surrounding the, we'll just call it the medallion, the way these cards are linking. And then the cross then has a triangle, and then outside of the triangle is a diamond square. It's pulling things in, and it's framing them, and it's expanding them through the law of three, through Trinity. Some of you know how to bring this into form. For some of you, it's by shape-shifting. Now, we get woo-woo here, but I do not mean like you're superhuman and you're gonna shape-shift. I mean, if you can do that, drop it in the comments, because that's special. You can create that way. That's another way you can access your information. So the shapeshifter card, pardon me, throat chakra rebuke. There's a few different random items in this, but it looks like a snake skin in the background, rainbow colors. Again, lots of emphasis on rainbow. I keep hearing rainbow child, rainbow child. Look up what a rainbow child is. That could be significant for you. You could also be a part of the queer community. That could be a synchronicity for you. Or you're seeking the treasure at the end of the rainbow. I actually came up with a quote earlier this year, 2025. I think it was, I am the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So yeah, this is very much about as within, so without, knowing your own value, knowing that you already have the prize within you. That in order to reach for it, you simply shift into the energy of that which you want to receive. And then you are a match. We've talked about some of these things in some of the other readings, tarot readings. Yeah, the shapeshifter, again, shedding skin, shedding, the spiritual shedding process of releasing before a great level up. Perhaps the prize is this new level up for some of you. It's taking multiple things that don't make sense and putting them together and realizing that you've created something whole from that nonsensical because of gnosis, of this deeper knowing. And I'm getting chills, confirmation. Ooh, wow, a lot of chills. Holy wow, spirit, my gods. This is some intense energy. I happen to be doing a 24-hour fast today to go into deeper meditation, so I am tapped in. I don't recommend that. If you can't do it, don't do it. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from with my energy today. So yeah, the shapeshifter here. We are, for those of you that are catching this real time or looking back on the year before, because we're almost in 2026, which is going to be the year of the horse, by the way, in case you were wondering. And we are in Sagittarius season, so horses have been coming up a lot lately. But what we're leaving behind is the snake skin, is the shedding, is the heavy detoxification process of all that is no longer serving us, becoming something brand new, and being able to transform back into prior versions of oneself because we know what we released and it has become renewed. Again, we are in a Scorpio moon. We are in that transformative energy of becoming. What part of your life did you leave behind this last year? With it being the year of the 9 of graduations, it's not quite completion. 10 is completion, which will be next year. Some of you are expanding beyond horizons that you even knew were possible. And it starts from within. When you expand your psyche, when you expand your consciousness, because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is ruled by expansion, right? And again, it's expansion of whatever we are focusing on. That could be negative, positive, or neutral. So what have you left behind in order to expand into in the going year ahead? And again, if this is not your current time frame, these questions are still applicable for you, okay? Shapeshifting is the ability to adapt and morph into any energy and still know yourself, to not lose yourself. So in order to, this is where the anchoring came in order to fly, to expand, to spread your wings, to travel, for some of you, travel is coming up. Another thing that Sagittarius rules. Sagittarius also rules higher learning, expansive knowledge, different cultures, a global scale. So, by anchoring into who you've become, because you know you can become it now, because you've left behind the past in this last year. And it doesn't have to be some huge, epic shedding process. For a lot of us that are in the spiritual community, whatever spiritual community you are in, non-denominational channel here, it could be something as simple as one way you used to talk to yourself. I'm hearing for some of you. For some of you, this medallion, this gift, this prize is quieting the abusive self-critic. For some of you, it's golden voice. I'm hearing it's your golden voice. It's your ability to speak pure gold into the world now. Now, your voice is, it's the magic wand, okay? Your tongue, it speaks, it moves, it creates. It takes something from the inside and brings it to the outside, as within, so without. So what you say puts an energy out into the universe. It also lets other individuals know what your intentions are. What we project outward is actually more of a representation of our subconscious coming to the surface. I think in my channeled messages notebook, which I posted a few days ago on the blog here on YouTube, I mentioned you can either be the poison of the world or you can be the medicine. And it starts with how we speak. If we are constantly speaking vile things and negative things, and this isn't about shaming anybody, this isn't about anyone being better than anybody. If you feel that way, it's perhaps because you want to be better, you want to speak more kindly, you want to see more beauty in the world. And in order to experience it, you have to do it for yourself first. So when you take the time to shed, to go through these old things, we're going to stick with this example of speaking. When you take the time to transmute your thoughts within yourself, you take time to notice how other people are speaking around you. And it makes you wonder, am I still a match to this environment? Am I still a match to this person, place, or thing? And you get to a point where you recognize the patterns, you become more mindful of the things you say to yourself, and then you notice a shift. As you shed these things, you notice a shift because you feel it within, and I'm getting chills all up and down my body again. This is powerful. When something clicks in place within yourself, within your psyche, it clicks outside of you. It's a law of the universe, again, as within, so without. So when you speak beautifully to yourself, and it doesn't have to be over-exaggerated techniques that the law of assumption uses, right? It doesn't have to be, you know, say you're, I don't want to use any specific examples, but say you used to put yourself down a lot in your head. And by the way, our inner critic, that's what our parents or our guardians or our adult figures in our life how they used to speak to us when we were children is what becomes our inner critic later. So when you hear those thoughts that aren't so nice to yourself, and you could have really nice parents and they still say screwed up things. Humans are humans, right? It doesn't mean that it necessarily traumatized you. It could be something so subconscious that you don't pay attention to it. And that's why we go through the shedding process. Because by identifying and plucking out those thoughts from the psyche, we're able to say, I don't need this anymore. I want to feel better about myself. And I've identified that this thought was originally not my own. This thought came from a mindless comment from, it could even be like an auntie or an uncle or a teacher or an older sibling, much older sibling for some of you I'm hearing. That's specific. So when you're able to move through that energy, you get to a point of, okay, so how do I transmute this now? Now that I've identified the cause, now that I understand the effect, okay, how has this been affecting me in my life? And you look at examples, be like, well, I told myself it wasn't going to happen, that it wasn't possible, as an example. And then I was right, because as within, so without. If you tell yourself that something is impossible, whatever it may be, you're already deciding that it's not going to happen for you. Therefore, you take no action steps utilizing the masculine energy, you don't use it. This is where people can get confused and think that by not acting, they're actually in feminine receptive mode. That's not actually true. That's neutral. Neutral doesn't get talked about a lot, but it does exist. Remember, folks, there's always a third door. There's always a third door. You are not limited. Remember that. And if you are fighting with that, maybe ask yourself why. Perhaps take my example and put it into an exercise for yourself. I feel like somebody really needed this, so I'm channeling this message for y'all. So if you feel like it is impossible, ask yourself, how could it be possible? Whatever it may be, right? Ask yourself, I'm not talking about visualizing, we're talking about doing, this is kind of shadow work, right? But it's bringing it to the surface, to the light, so we can move forward and expand. So this is in a lot of ways a cusp, a precipice for those of you that have already spent, and I'm getting chills again, more confirmation. Whew, wow, oh my, one moment. It's like getting tickled by the fairies. Okay. Someone's got playful energy. All right, anyways, moving forward. Some of you have done this deep work because a lot of you had to do it to survive. In order to survive, you had to find the play in it. And in order to find the play, you had to remove the oppression, that stern adult figure within yourself that was being toxically unbalanced to you, which created the thoughts in your mind. So again, ask yourself, how can something be possible? One of my mantras I created for the collective about a month ago was, I believe in the possibility of the impossible. Think about it. I believe in the possibility of the impossible. This shift, this change of frequency, this change of mind aligns you with taking the action towards the possibilities. And remember that you are the only one that is deciding whether it's possible for you or not. And once you decide that it's possible, don't go trying to make a plan and set up steps and execute that plan. We're not talking about manifesting and taking it to the next step. We're talking about holding space for those feelings, for those thoughts, being mindful in that moment, believing in yourself. That's the thing, right? Regardless of how many others have not believed in us for whatever reason, when we believe in ourselves and then we prove it to ourselves, everything does become possible. So the act is simply observing your thoughts. Take that with you. And when you get to the next level, and again, it's not about accomplishing levels, it's not about graduating, even though that is an emphasis of the number 9. For some of you it is. It's about getting to the next step. But we're not talking about this. I keep getting reminders of us being in the Pisces North Node collectively, and we're leaving behind the Virgo South Node energy, right? And Virgo hones into details. If you'd like to know more, check out my Astro Insights playlist. I went into Virgoan principles and Piscean in 2 different readings, and I clipped out separate messages for everyone. This is going to be going on till summer of next year in 2026, okay? And the North Node is our forward destiny. So as a collective, we are all learning how to believe and to see through illusion and identify our faith And in this particular case, we're talking about inside of us, right? In order to truly believe in a higher power, whatever that higher power may be for you, or powers if you're polytheist, you have to believe that you have the same power within you. And that doesn't mean that you think you're God or you have a God complex, okay? Anybody coming at it from that angle, check your shadow, okay? All due respect. Check your shadow, right? It's okay if you don't believe yet, but remember that when you tear other people down, yeah, this is hard for some of you. When you tear other people down, even if it's subtle, even if it's socially acceptable to pick people apart or say nasty things, remember that you are reflecting to the universe that the universe deserves to do that to you too. How did that make you feel? Again, as within, so without. You're reaching for this medallion. You're reaching for this treasure. Well, what if you are the treasure? What if you are the medallion? And what if you believe it? What then? Then you see the treasure outside of you. You can expand your horizons, your consciousness, your psyche, therefore expanding your environment. Right? So, I think that was pretty much that message for that. We have the vow here. I'm getting chills again. Wow. Whew. Holy cow. Wow, this is intense. Oh. The vow, and it's interesting, this is like three hands. I've described this card in another reading. I have a separate channeled messages playlist as well. Maybe check that out if you are looking for more of this style. And I do also do video readings sometimes. Just depends on the vibe. This is an ASMR style reading. So yeah, this is three hands. This is you, another, and spirit all coming together like we are victorious. We're holding each other up. This is a huge sense of community for some of you. Some of you really are relying heavily on a community in order to pull this through, whatever this is. For some of you, it's your faith. We have the white dove above, this purity, this. For some of you, there is a strong angelic presence around you. In fact, you know, you don't have to be super spiritual to have angels around you. And you don't have to be Christian either. They are celestial beings. Okay? Think about that. Celestial beings. So yeah, some of you do have a guardian angel that is guiding the way, and you have others around you to support you. Even if you think you don't, look at all the ways that life has given back to you and be grateful for it. I don't say that to shame. Again, if you're looking at gratitude as something to look down on, why? If there's something that you feel like you haven't received from life, ask yourself why you haven't allowed yourself to believe it's possible. We circle back to that message. I'm getting a side message. Some of you came into this life with a vow to hold others up in the darkness. This hand is surrounded by black, bursting light. And yeah, there's 9 dots or circles above the dove and above the outline of the black. Again, completion or graduating to completion. Nine is a very spiritual, holy number. You turn it upside down and it's a 6, and then 6 represents success. So by graduating through this change, this alchemical process of transmuting these feelings and these thoughts into what you actually want for your life. You trust the process and you start seeing it co-create, right? Co-creating with the divine, co-creating with the universe, co-creating with others, as within, so without. You have to decide that you want to be a creator or a creatrix, right? And that is what I meant earlier by saying, you feel worthy, not that it's a God complex, but that you acknowledge that every one of us has the power to co-create our reality. Every one of us has the power to manifest the life we want. And yes, there are always going to be outside external things that are happening that can get in the way, but usually that happens because the universe is helping you grow and expand through lessons and tests. And a lot of people don't like that, but it's all about determination and consistency. If you truly desire a different outcome and more possibilities, it starts with believing that you deserve that. And then other people notice a frequency change in you, and you start to emanate that in your external reality, and your external reality starts to shift. And then all of a sudden, you are given more opportunities. And this is where we circle back to the receptivity, being ready to catch your prize, right? You have to then be open to receive, to pull the energy through all the way. So the masculine action is scanning through your thoughts in this particular example, in this reading, is looking at all the ways that you have told yourself it isn't possible, and then transmuting that into things that can be possible. And then you start experimenting, take it like a science project. Look at it like, okay, I don't have any proof, this is a hypothesis, right? But I'm going to study my life. I'm going to pick it apart and I'm going to analyze it. This is a way you can use the positive traits of Virgo, right? A way that we can integrate the past into the present belief, which takes us to the future of knowing our faith is real. So if it's easier for you, if you are more left brain, right, more analytical, look at it from that perspective. And it is about being able to hold more than one perspective. Some people can't do that, and that's unfortunate. I believe, again, in the possibility of anything, right? So, and also I happen to be a 9th house Pisces sun sign, so it's natural for me to believe in the depths and the ethers and the expansion. 9th house also is ruled by Sagittarius, right? Okay. And the original planet for Pisces before Neptune was Jupiter. So I'm very much emanating this energy right now, which is why I'm connecting with you, because you too have something within you, a seed, perhaps, or perhaps it's this medallion. You just need to give it a little polish to bring it out, right? Something about our frequencies match, otherwise you wouldn't be here, because I set strong intentions that these messages get to who they're supposed to, when they're supposed to, and that it makes sense, that there's clarity, that there's inspiration, that there's some form of healing that takes place, okay? And I am an emotional alchemist. I have done this process. It is something that I started 13 years ago, and it doesn't have to take that long for you. Some of you don't know how to speak on this. My throat chakra off and on has been trying to close, and that rules your voice, of course. It rules the way you speak, and again, to yourself or others. Some of you look at deep shame. Look at how you feel ashamed for how you think about yourself, and ask yourself, did somebody in your life, and again, if you need external counseling services to go through these feelings, I highly recommend it. I'm also an advocate, but I'm not a professional medical or mental health person. I have a disclaimer in the description box. But I do suggest talk therapy for people. And you don't have to get diagnosed. You don't have to get medication. You just get set up. It's emotional support. It's a way to process your emotions. And sometimes we need an outside party to help pull the inside out, right? And if you're not ready for that, that's okay. Just start by journaling, right? Maybe once a day, I would suggest whatever time of day is most comfortable for you, you feel the most in the flow, you have the most peace, and you can make time for it. If anybody drops a comment below saying, I don't have time because I have this, well, then you've already decided it's not possible. How about you look at that belief right there? Pluck it out. Why do you think you don't have time? Is it perhaps that you don't feel like other people value your time and therefore you're constantly busy and doing things for other people? If that's so, then why aren't you giving yourself more time? Because people treat us how we show them to treat us. So if you're constantly going and you're constantly exhausted and you never ever take time for yourself, why is that? Are you more comfortable in uncomfortable situations? That's something to look at perhaps for a trauma from your past. Because oftentimes with trauma comes the inability to rest. And in order to receive, you have to learn to rest, which is why people recommend meditation, mindfulness practices, which, by the way, all this talk about going in deep and everything, that is all mindfulness practices, which I've been doing for 13 years. All right. I just channeled in 2 days ago with one of my own upgrades, we'll call it, spiritually, and I channeled in within 20 minutes 733 4 times. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. And no, I didn't look at 4 different clocks that had it on. No, the number like that, because I work with synchronicities. It's part of being a psychic medium. I see them all the time. The angels and other beings communicate through synchronicities that I pick up on and divine with. So for some of you, look up angel number 733. That could be a potential goal for some of you. And that is ultimate spiritual mastery, okay? Numbers like 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, double numbers, those are mastery numbers. They're also mirroring numbers. So for some of you, you are mirroring someone else. Perhaps it's a mentor or an old friend or a family member or a partner or someone you haven't met yet. I'm hearing red string theory. I don't know a lot about that. That's just being channeled in. For some of you, that'll make sense. So you're definitely not on this path alone. Yet again, this card, the vow here, it has 3 hands around it. And it's like spirit and another, for some of you, are holding you up during this process. You're not alone, and you're about to fly. This dove is above these hands being held up, and I'm getting chills all over again. This dove has its wings wide open. It's flying high. It is ascending. This is the ascension process for some of you. This is the ascension process. For others of you, you are starting with releasing. And you may say, well, the year is almost over. What's the point? Well, why not? You can start small. You don't have to give yourself some huge grand plan and something that you could sabotage yourself with by not following through on. Just take one little thing. Back to that journal. Take one time a day. Look at your journal and go, what is one thought that is no longer serving me, or one thought that makes me uncomfortable, or one thought that I don't think is true to me, or one thought that I don't want to be true to me. Write it down. Start with that. At the end of the week, I want you to look at your journal every single day that you wrote these things down and look at all the thoughts that you just purged. And if you're comfortable and you can do this in a safe environment, burn that sheet of paper. Let it go. You don't have to hold on to it, but if you want to keep it, And if you want to remember your progress as you go forward, then do that. You can also take a picture of the paper and then burn it, and then you've got a log on your phone or whatever that you can keep, that you don't look at, you don't ruminate because you've already let it go, right? But then you can track your progress, but you also follow it through with the action of incinerating. That is the transformative alchemical process, right? Metaphorically speaking, you're burning out what no longer serves you, shedding, right? So you can ascend, so you can be lighter, so you can go higher and higher and higher. And this isn't about physical heights. Could be for some of you. Some of you could be climbing mountains for all I know. Be careful. Know what you're doing. Anyways. I'm sure you do if you are. But, you know, people be people in. So I have to say that. Please use your wise discernment on what you can handle. As you progress, you can switch up the exercise. So it's not always like, you're not always down on yourself. You're not always doing the shadow work. It's about balance between the light and the shadows, right? This is how you come into alignment with yourself. So when you take the time to receive information about yourself and your feminine energy, which is by allowing yourself to read into your own energy, your own thoughts, your own feelings, and then you take it to the next level, and then you take action after that. After you've received, then you take action in this particular process, okay? How do you take action? Well, that would be the next step. And if you'd like more personal guidance, I do offer it. You can book with me. And I'm not going to give you more than that, because I just specifically told you all that this isn't about setting out this grand plan. Because oftentimes when we create grand plans and we're starting from a very timid place, so to speak, that is a way that we self-sabotage. It's like, example, New Year's resolutions, and this is the perfect time for this message to come out, is we create these grand plans, right? And we say, oh, well, we have all year to achieve it. Therefore, it's not really a priority in our mind. It's just something that we might do. And it's kind of blown off in society like, oh, yeah, I said I was going to lose 30 pounds this year, and I lost 5, and then I gained 40. You know, something like that. And it's funny because it's socially acceptable, but really look at that. Like, you're telling yourself you don't deserve to follow through on something that you want. Therefore, telling yourself it's not possible, because it's socially acceptable to not believe in yourself. And what the heck is okay with that? Let me ask you. How is that okay? If we want to be supportive to our community and to ourselves, we have to be willing to give ourselves that support first. And that's not selfish, that's self-loving. I hope this message brought you some peace, brought you some good things to think about. Feel free to speak up in the comments. I know some of you do. If you have certain exercises you like to do or any journal prompts, please drop them in the comments. Share with the community. And I would love it if you subscribed. This is a small, slow-growing community, and it's because we're authentic here. We're not fake. I'm not doing this to make money, to succeed as a YouTube star. I'm here to give back to the collective as a healer, and I do intend to successfully profit, because I deserve to make money from my calling, but it's not my focus. I'm not going to be pumping out material every single day to be relevant in the algorithm. So for some of those that are out there that don't like that I don't share all the time, it's all right. It's okay. Spirit often works through me with the collective, and I do lead by example. So this last year for me was all about patience and learning how to actually be in the flow and to co-create my reality and to implement that belief. Everything I am teaching people about, I've personally gone through the process first. I'm not reciting things that other people are saying. I'm channeling, and I am calling also from my personal experience. So it is possible, and you're possible. Everything you want is possible. Thank you for being here. Until next time, this is Ellie, signing off. Bye, darlings.